Hey guys, good morning. First day of farmer's market. I'm up, I'm dressed. This temperature today is not really cooperating. um, I have a nice long sleeve t-shirt. I had ordered long t-shirts because at first when I checked temperature like a month ago, it was like, oh, it was gonna be cool and it was supposed to be warmer, so I got some short sleeve t-shirts, and now it's cool again. It's gonna be in the 50s today. It's like 40 some degrees out. Last night I wanted to pack the car. Unfortunately, it was raining, and so yeah. So anyway, I'm gonna go do that now. So I did the boxes and stuff already. I'm just hoping I can. I'm gonna squeeze as much as I can in my car. So we'll see how this goes. Okay, guys, I'm all set up. Most importantly for the human body. Okay, guys, so those were some very, very short clips. I meant to film later that day to talk about it, and I just forgot. I was tired because, of course, I was just very anxious. I didn't really sleep well, and so, and it's probably better that I waited anyway because now that I've have some perspective on things. I'm sure if I had done a video then, um, what I would have thought then, what I thought and think now would have been different just because that was the first time I did it. So first things first, I had never worked a retail job. When I was younger, the first job I had was for my uncle. Actually, you know what? I did do a little part-time job in high school. I was cleaning this one lady's house, but I've never done retail. And so, I mean, Square is pretty easy to use. But, I was kind of concerned because I was like, okay, so what happens? You know, I mean, I planned for the rest going, okay, well, what happens if I just have all these people and I get overwhelmed, um, because I just didn't know what was going to happen. So I paid for the Square Retail Plus because it gave you the ability to do barcodes, and with the barcodes, you can actually use your phone as a barcode scanner. And so I was thinking, well, if for example I were to get inundated and I'm the only person there, it may be quicker for me just scanning, the thing rather than trying to scroll through my phone to find the thing and tap it to add it to the cart. So, I had my little barcodes and that sort of thing. And so that night, but the night before, I went and got a cart from Walmart because I was like, you know what? How exactly am I going to get my plants and stuff to the area? I was like, because quite frankly, I don't want to carry it. And when I did think I did drive by there and I was like, oh, from where I'm located, that's a kind of a distance to walk. Now, I have since learned then I could have pulled up on the pad, but at the time, my first time there, I didn't know that I could do that. And so I got a cart. I couldn't find my ratchet set. And so I was like screwing things in by hand. Not the best way. I couldn't even find a wrench because if I had had a wrench, I could have, you know, that would have been great. So I didn't pack that night, like I said in the video, because it rained. So I got up the next morning and did stuff. I mean, it was only 3 hours, so it's not like I was trying to, you know. And at that point, it was early in the season, so I didn't have a lot of stuff ready. So I packed everything that I could, and because the market didn't start till 10 a.m., I had plenty. I didn't have to get up you know I didn't have to get up at 6 o'clock. So I forgot what time I did get there, but I had plenty of time to get there and get set up and that sort of thing. So anyway, so I get there and I put up my tent first, put my little weights on. It was super windy. And so the market manager was concerned about my tent blowing away. And I was like, hey, listen, I got the heaviest duty weights. I put the tent up, with these weights. I left it up. I stood outside. It's gonna be fine. There was a pole near where I was located, and I should have tied it there. I could have tied it to that. I don't know why I didn't do that. I'm trying to think. Did I remember? I may have left the ropes that came with the tent at home. That might be why I didn't do that. I think that was why. I think I left the ropes at home. So I had weights. So I went to the car to get my stuff out, and I come back, and my tent is not there because it had blown away. It had blown over to to these other vendors. They caught it. The guy who helps out at the market caught it, and I was terrified because I was like, "Oh my gosh, somebody could have gotten hurt." Thankfully, nobody got hurt, and so yeah. So the lady was like, "Oh, when you put the weights on," she said, "the wind is blowing this way." She said, "And your weights were turned." She said basically you wanted to turn them so, because like with the weights there was like a kind of like a rectangular cutout, and basically if this is the leg and the wind is blowing this way, you wanted to put the weight like this so that it blew into the weights, and apparently that's not what I did. And of course I've never tried to, you know, figure out wind direction. Like, it's just the wind is blowing. So anyway, that spot is a very windy spot. So anywho, and the tent was it was just broken. There was no way to repair it. So I was like, great. So I did it without a tent. So I just had the table set up. I didn't pull up the pop-up banner just because it was so windy. I didn't think there was a point. And so, yeah, so I put my stuff up. So the cart that I, called myself hand tightening the bolts, I was losing bolts on the wheels the whole time. I was constantly stopping to screw everything back in. And I was like, oh my gosh. But I got everything over. I got it set up. And then the market opened, and, it was cold that day, which is fine. And what I had on, because I thought the temperature was going to be warmer than what it ended up being. And I was just chilly the whole time. And so, next year I'm going to plan. I'm going to plan better. I'm going to see if there may be like a portable, like, heat source or something. Anyway, didn't happen this time. Next year, I know I will do better with that. And so, when you're really cold at that certain point, because I'm so cold, I was just like, oh, I just want this to be over. And I had 3 hours. And when you're cold, 3 hours seems like a really long time. And so it's kind of weird because I thought that I was standing out there for a lot longer with no sales than what I really did. When I actually went and got, when I actually looked at my phone at the end and looked at the transactions, I realized that I had made my first sale at 10:04, and it was like boom. I mean, it was just boom, 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 steady, consistent the whole time. So I think when I looked at it, it was around like 9 transactions per hour. And of course, the thing is, it's not like people walked up and just grabbed something and purchased it. They looked, they stopped, we had conversations, people asked questions. I think the most downtime I had was maybe 20 minutes. And then after that, I was having, consistent sales. So that part was nice. And the thing is, like, it's weird because time, just time can be so subjective. It's just, it seemed, my perception was completely off. I'm glad like all the transactions were timestamped so I could actually see, how I did. And then let's see. So people came from a number of sources. Some people just were at the market. And they saw me because there was a write-up, they sent an email blast out. And so some people saw me there. Some of the gardening groups, people saw, and I think I posted in like 3 different gardening groups plus the Vintage Gardener gardening group. So people came from there, and the people came from Facebook all told me who they were. So that was really nice to see people. You guys probably saw stuff on Instagram. Nikki and her husband came, and so that was nice. And then and so yeah, so it was very, I was busy the entire time, and then there was a lot of people around the table just looking. You know, everybody wanted to see what I had. It became readily apparent to people that I had a lot of things that they had never seen before. And so, then at that point they were like, "Oh, is this the only stuff you're going to have?" And I was explaining to them, "No, I have a whole collection. There's a lot more stuff coming." And so, yeah, so some people I noticed were a little bit like, "Oh my goodness, these prices are higher," but once again, this is not stuff you can find in a store. Some people weren't really into gardening, so they were like, "Oh, what's so different about this than, what's, typically like at greenhouse market or red top market or whatnot?" And so I would explain it. Some people liked it, but it was just, they were like, "It's too cold to plant. I can't do that." And then, of course, there were the diehards, especially the people who came from Facebook, who were just like, "Oh, wait a minute. I've never seen this peony. I'm getting it before somebody else gets it." Because, and because that's how I shop. And so, so there were people who did that. So, yeah, so overall, it was really, it felt very chaotic. It just felt very, and like I said, I never done retail before, so it was just like, the barcode scanner, it worked. I mean, it worked decent. When you use the barcode scanner on your phone, it's almost like it more like takes a picture on it rather than a traditional scanner. And so that was a little bit different, but you know what? For the first time out, it was fine because I didn't know how I was going to do. I mean, for all I knew, I may have gotten only 5 sales the entire time, and somebody could, and it could have been just one plant per person where, using that thing would have been, fine. But with the amount of sales that I had, the one thing, so this is the square reader I had, but the one thing I noticed was that my phone was going through power so quick. My phone was completely charged when I got there, and after 3 hours of consistently using it, because obviously my phone had the Wi-Fi connection. That's how everything was going through. My phone, I'm trying to think, I'm pretty sure I was less than halfway in terms of the power. I had burned through a lot of power on my phone. So I'm glad the market wasn't longer than that, because if it had been twice that, the reality of the situation is I probably would have run out of power before the entire thing was said and done. I did have a cash box. The way I arranged my money in it, I actually had to go and get change from a vendor because I kind of miscalculated. I don't, now I know, like, basically, if you're doing a farmer's market and you got a cash box, I mean, honestly, ones, 5s, and 10s are probably really all you need. Honestly, you probably could just get away with 5s and 1s. You really could. If you have $100 in 5s and 1s, you would be absolutely fine. So that was something I definitely kept in mind for the next time. And I got through it. And, yeah, when that 3 hours was over, I was just kind of like, "Ooh, what just happened?" And two of my aunts and my cousin came, and so my aunt wanted another tree peony, and so they were at my aunt's house. So I went home, took some stuff out, grabbed the tree peony, took it over there, so so she could have. Because I think she bought like 2 tree peonies. Speaking of which, I have to message her and ask her how she made out with those. So yeah. So anyway, based upon how that first day went, and based upon the sales, because I did do well with sales, I was able to. I got an iPad. I had to get an iPad 9th generation, because I got the Square Register, and Square Register only works with the specific iPad. So this is what the Square Register looks like. You put the iPad in here. This is the docking point, and this right here is the tap it thing, and this right here is if you're going to dip your card, and then basically you can twirl it around to face your customer. You do have to plug it in, and it comes with the plug, and so because you need power. So I purchased this battery. It's like this battery right here, and so it charges up. It takes like 8 hours to charge, but you put it on AC and to plug something in. You can do two things. You can plug in. It actually has a light on the back of it, and then it has these little things right here. So if you wanted to plug in, like if I wanted to charge my phone, I could do it. It even has a Type C. So yeah, so it's really, really nice. It does have a fan, so if it gets hot, it'll turn on. You have to charge it every 6 months if you're not using it. And all I can say is this: if I ever lose power, this will be nice because I can plug in my coffee machine. There's probably other things I could plug in just to use them, just for a little bit if I need to. And let's see. Oh, and then I also got, did I get the cash register? No, you know what? I didn't get the cash register then. I got the cash register. I'm trying to think, when did I get that? I'm gonna have to look because I'm trying to think how many weeks I went without the cash register. That'll probably be the next video because I want to say it may have been after the third markets, but I just had this, and then so the monitor thing, the square stand, and the power block, and so that's what I had for my next market, which will be the next video. So all in all, I survived. I did have to do more research on a tent because I needed to get something a lot more heavy duty, and so I did. I got two 10x10 ones, and then I have a 10x20. The 10x10 I have, it already broke. So the one that's 10x20, I think they do make a smaller version, so I'm going to get that for next year because I want something a little bit more heavy duty. But you know what? It's a thing. You have to play around with stuff. The tents can be, if you want something that's going to last and it's not going to fly off, you're going to want something heavy duty, because the one tent that I have that's like 10x20, it's very, very, very heavy. Even the other 10x10 tents I have are heavier than the one that I had. So for those of you guys out there who plan to do farmers markets, I know it's going to be more expensive. Get the heavy duty tent. Trust me, you will, it's worth it. The other thing with the heavy duty tents is that they come with the appropriate size weight bag, so you can fill them with sand. I filled them with gravel because I had a pile of gravel that I could use, and I wrapped it, and it kind of like velcros it on the legs, and you kind of like fold it around the legs, and I've used those on windy days, and it was absolutely fine. So anyway, but yeah, so that's how my first market went. So I had a really good, opening, good start to the season. So I was really, really, really excited about everything. And I'm just like, okay, so maybe I'm not crazy. Maybe I wasn't, maybe this is not such a crazy idea. And so, listen, I knew that the entire season wasn't going to be like that, but, I was just hoping. It was a really good start. And, and that was the second week in April. The gardening season really hadn't gotten started yet. So the way I looked at it is, if this is like this and it's still kind of cold, people aren't really shopping yet. Once people really start coming out to buy plants, what's it going to be like? What's it going to be like then? So yeah, so I was really excited. So I'm excited for this coming up season. I have new plants, and there's a few things I have to order, and so I think I think that'll turn out well too. So anyway, guys, that's it for this video. I will do another segment on how my second market went. Actually, that might be almost an entire talking video, but I'll talk to you guys about that, and then we'll go from there. I do have some other videos with tours coming up soon because my mom came for then my third market. And so, and she and I did all kinds of stuff that week. So we had a really good time. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.